So what are you expecting from DC this weekend?
A tough match. I mean, obviously they're in good form right now. You know, they're sitting on top of the East, I believe, and you know, they're a team that's played very well. You know, Spindola, I think, is out for them, and Davy Arno is out on yellow cards. But still, you know, Eddie Johnson, I'm sure, will be back. I'm sure he's looking forward to the game. You know, he's going to play his best, and they're a good team. You know, they've improved themselves defensively. They're a team that's going to, you know, commands a lot of respect, and you know, we have to be ready to play.
What will it be like facing Eddie Johnson again?
It'll be good. You know, I mean, Eddie's still a friend of ours and a friend of the club's, and you know, we wish him nothing but the best, except against us. And you know, so I'm sure, you know, he'll be seeing a lot of the guys, you know, that he knows off the team as well. But it's going to be a good competitive match. You know, this having to play overtime today took last night took a little more out of us. So we got to physically make sure our guys are recovered.
With a team with Eddie being so good in the air, is there anything different you guys need to do defensively to limit him on those types of chances?
Just keep an eye on him. You know, I mean, I think we got some guys who are pretty good in the air in the back. You know, I mean, Chad Marshall's pretty good in the air, and so is Zach Scott, and Annie Baba's good in the air. You know, so whomever we choose to play. But you know, the most important thing is, like we always teach our defenders, is you got to get on a body inside the 18-yard box. You know, marking space. The space isn't going to score the goal on you. The person is. So make sure you find a body and you're you know, touch tight. And so if we do that, we'll be okay.
Every year it seems like Zach is someone who, you know, at least from the outside looking in, seems like maybe he's run his course, but then he comes back and he ends up being an important part of the team. I mean, what maybe how has this year been a little different in that sense, and you know, what have you thought of his kind of evolution?
I mean, this year has been a little bit different because Zach is a player who works extremely hard and has trained really hard to put himself into the position that he's in, and for him to be able to maintain a roster spot with the Sounders has been a tribute to the hard work that he puts in day after day. This year was almost to a point where maybe at times he was overworking, and so that was something that we talked about and we sort of discussed at the beginning of the year, and we backed off a little bit on his work because we needed some of his freshness. And I think you saw last night, you know, the way he got up in the air at times and things like that, that bounce in his step, that freshness, you know, that little bit of quickness that wasn't there at the beginning of the year is definitely there now. And he's a battler, you know. I mean, you never count Zach Scott out of anything, and he's a guy that when you know you're going into a difficult situation, he's a guy you want on your side.
When you first saw him, or when you first saw him with the Sounders, at least, did you foresee him as being you know, like a foundational kind of part of this club, you know, in 6 years?
I saw him as a guy who was going to help our team, help the depth of our team, definitely have that connection to Seattle and what's gone on in the past with the USL team. But if you would have asked me in February of 2009, do I see him as a guy who's going to be starting for us in June of 2014? I said, well, you know, I don't know if that'll happen. But again, that's a tribute to Zach, and that's a tribute to who Zach is. And you know, there's a lot of young players that can look up to DeAndre and all of that, but Zach Scott's a guy to look up to that, you know, tells you that hard work, perseverance, dedication can take you a long way.
Back to Eddie, without, you know, really the familiar goal numbers coming, are you seeing any difference either in him or in the way DC is using him?
You know, a little hard to say because part of that's our tactics going into the game as well a little bit. But, you know, I mean, obviously you adjust to a new team. You know, he's got a different front-running partner in a Spindola, a guy who likes to go to the flanks and find different areas. And Eddie is another guy who likes to sometimes float wide and look for spaces. And so sometimes there's nobody in the middle, you know, and I know that's something they'll probably have addressed and are looking at. But, you know, Eddie's been unlucky. He scored a couple of goals this year that were, you know, legitimate goals, and they were bad offside calls against him. You know, I know he's hit the woodwork as well. So, you know, with a little bit of luck sometimes for a goal scorer, you know, the difference between having 6 or 7 goals and having 1 or 2 is sometimes just a rub of the green.
With Oba suspended for this match, how will that affect your attack?
Well, you know, I mean, we have to obviously, you know, go with other people, but, you know, you see, I mean, Cooper's gotten 3 goals in the 2 Open Cup games. You know, Weaver did a good job in terms of what we needed him to do. Chad Barrett has come into both Open Cup games and really livened up the game, and so those are our options. Tristan Bowen is back from his concussion, so he becomes available again. So I think we have options. We need different people to step up.
How are guys like Jimmy and Ozzy looking health-wise?
Ozzy's looking good. The time off period was exactly what we wanted and hoped for. I think he's back at his level in terms of fitness and injury-free and so forth. So that's really important to us. And Jimmy's working his way back. For him now, it's just a matter of regaining his fitness. Injury-wise, he's behind him. It's just a matter of getting his fitness now.
And how important is having a full-strength Ozzy Alonso, who I don't know if you felt like you've had the full-strength Ozzy Alonso the whole year?
Well, Ozzy's an important player. He's also a smart enough and experienced enough player that, those players sometimes when they're not at 100%, they can still find ways to impact the game and have an influence on your team's play. And Ozzy, is an experienced enough player that he can do that. But obviously, if you're in if you have full control of all your capabilities, your ability to sprint, to explode, hit shots with either foot, that just makes you more comfortable on the field and just makes you feel better, gives you confidence.
Do you feel like he's been like really 100% at any point this year until now?
Probably not since the first game of the season, no. I think he's, there's certain things he knows I got to shy away from this today because, I've got this little tweak or a little pull, but, we're back at the stage where he's healthy.
Is he in kind of like an emergency role on the bench? I know some people in a tight game see him on the bench and wonder if he might come in.
Yesterday game last night. Yeah, he was there just in case we felt we needed something, and I felt the way the game was going. I thought Azero was playing all right. Pineda was doing okay, so we decided just to keep Ozzy out. But he was there, if we felt we needed him or we wanted to go with a third midfielder. If we would have probably scored a goal at the end of regulation or at the end of the overtime and had 10, 15 minutes to go, we might have brought him in to help lock it up defensively in midfield.
Since we won't be seeing you for a little while, do you have any idea whenever the USA run ends, when you expect the USA guys back?
Don't really know. I mean, usually FIFA, you're out the next day on a plane. That's the way FIFA is at all their championships. It's they pay for everything, so they don't let you hang around a long time. It's like your next day I remember when I was coaching the under-20s and we were in Nigeria. The next day we were in Lagos and on a plane and we were coming home. And same thing in Holland when we got eliminated. So and 94 was the same thing. So what happens then? We'll have to see. We have to see where they are. I mean, the World Cup is a very physically draining and emotionally draining experience, and I've always felt that players sometimes need a little bit of time just to get back. Just to get back. It's like going on a not that it's a vacation, I'm not comparing to vacation, but it's like going on a really nice vacation, and then you come back and you're back to the ho hum every day, and you sort of sit there going like, well, where's the excitement? Isn't there supposed to be excitement right now, or supposed to be doing something? So it's a little bit like that.
Speaking of the excitement, is it a little hard to kind of get back into the league rhythm, knowing that we've been talking about the World Cup and following that? Is it?
No, I think everybody, you've watched so much soccer, you want to get out there and play. So I think all the guys are excited to get out there and play, and we're excited to work and coach and do all that stuff. But all the soccer on TV, all the soccer on ESPN's been great.
Did those Open Cup games help to maybe carry some momentum or build momentum into that first game back?
Yeah, well, it gave us the rhythm of 2 games, so 2 games, so everybody's, gotten on the field, with the exception of Ozzy, guys that were looking at playing, major minutes for us, and so that's important, for them to get a game under their belt before they play their league game.
What sort of challenges does the 120 minutes plus the cross-country travel present for you guys?
It just means we got to be smart about our recovery. Normally our regen day like today after a regular game might have been out on the field because we did 120 minutes. We decided just to keep them inside on the bike. Got to make sure they get all their massage work in today. We'll let them sleep in tomorrow or watch a Germany-USA game tomorrow, have a later flight out. So all of that is just to give them opportunities to recover.
With this game being number 1 in the West versus number 1 in the East, is that something that registers with the team at all?
It's something, to be honest, we haven't talked about yet. You know, our focus was on San Jose, and today was a regen day, so I really don't get the whole group together and talk to them today. So we'll talk about that when we get together, you know, in D.C.
I know you guys made some travel adjustments to be able to watch the U.S.-Germany match. Will you guys watch it together, or are they kind of on their own?
No, they're on their own. They're on their own. You know, wanted to give them some free time as well. You know, so a lot of guys, when they saw the flight pushed back, they thought we were training and flying, but told them no, we're not. So it's good.
Thanks, Coach.